Jim, when you look at everything that's under the sun in Brexit, what do you actually look at? Is it the Conservative Party? Is it, with the noise coming from Brussels? Is it the leaks? Or is it just BOE?
Well, I mean, our own government is a complete mess. I think that's fairly evident to everyone. But it may actually play towards achieving a deal that Mrs May is so weak. Because the Conservatives, as a party, definitely don't want an election, because there is a chance, I wouldn't put it as a very high chance, that Jeremy Corbyn could get in, which would be a disaster in a lot of people's minds, and particularly in the finance sector. I would say there's a 90% chance of a deal coming before the end of this year, or the outline of a deal, and so I'm not in the slightest bit worried. I would say it's very important that Britain is able to make its own free trade arrangements, which was one of the bases on which I was a supporter of Brexit. I think immigration should remain relatively open, and the issue of sovereignty is one that I have never thought as important, basically, because we...
But, Jim, given what we've seen so far, what's the probability of the UK crashing out, and what's the probability of a not Brexit happening? 10% crashing out?
10% crashing out
and
with
no
no
Brexit?
deal. No Brexit, I think, is very, very unlikely. I think they're going to come to some sort of form of words for a loose association with the European Union. I would say, as I said earlier, that there's a 9 out of 10 chance that before the end of this year there'll be an outline deal, because companies are uncertain, finance companies in particular are very uncertain, and there's a lot of talk by particularly American finance companies about how they're going to move to Europe. There's been no evidence of that so far, and so far the UK economy continues to confound the pundits who are forecasting apocalypse the day after a Brexit vote. And every time I look at the figures, they're being revised upwards, not downwards, for the short term, and in the long term they're always being revised downwards, but I think the pundits have been wrong, and they'll continue to be wrong. My own view is that we'll have a deal, and that UK assets are relatively, in that context, attractive, although assets everywhere seem to be overpriced at the moment.